Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack a true Victorian-era legal heist that, honestly, feels like it was ripped straight out of a movie script. We're looking at a classic case that literally has it all. We've got supposedly secure court funds, a completely treacherous solicitor, and a desperate widow just trying to reclaim what's rightfully hers. This is the absolutely fascinating and highly educational case of the forged signature, Marsh v. Joseph.
To really wrap our heads around the legal puzzle here, we've got to set the scene. So picture this. You have a respectable widow, Mrs. Marsh. She has money, and more importantly, this money is being safely held by the court. Now, back in the Victorian legal system, having your funds held in court was generally considered as safe as it gets, right? Or at least, she thinks it's safe. Enter her solicitor, a man named Hales. Instead of actually protecting his client's interests like he's supposed to, Hales secretly plots a devastating theft of those exact court funds.
Section 1. The Widow and the Solicitor.
Now, in any normal legal relationship, trust is absolutely paramount. It's the whole foundation of the system. Mrs. Marsh completely trusted Hales with her affairs, assuming he was acting as her loyal agent. But man, that trust was entirely misplaced. Now, what's really interesting about this chain of events is the sheer audacity and mechanical precision of his plan. Step 1, he plots the theft, realizing the court holds the key to the money. Step 2, he executes this by outright forging Mrs. Marsh's signatures on letters and official documents. Step 3, and this is kind of the brilliant, albeit evil part, he uses those incredibly convincing forged documents to trick an entirely innocent law firm, Clear & Company. He hires them, making them believe they're operating under Mrs. Marsh's direct, personal instructions. And finally, Step 4, the trap springs. Clear & Company, thinking everything is perfectly above board, successfully transfers and releases the funds right out of the court's protection.
Moving right along to Section 2, the missing money.
So, the deed is done. The funds have been transferred out of the court's safety, and Hale's deception is seemingly complete. But you know, secrets like this just don't stay hidden forever, especially when a fortune goes missing. When Mrs. Marsh finally learns that her funds have inexplicably been released and are just gone, she acts exactly how any of us would. She discovers the loss and instantly agrees to take legal steps to begin proceedings. Her sole aim? Fix the mess and recover those lost funds. But here's the critical caveat that changes the whole shebang. She takes these proactive legal steps completely unaware of the fact that Hales, her very own trusted solicitor, had committed the forgery to steal it. She knows the money is gone, but she doesn't know how or who truly took it.
Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds. The ratification defense.
Now this is where the legal drama really intensifies. The people who ended up holding the stolen funds aren't just going to say, "Oops, our bad," and hand the money back. No way. Instead, they mount a surprising, highly technical legal defense based on a concept called ratification. In law, ratification basically means legally accepting or approving an agent's prior actions, even if those actions weren't authorized at the exact time they occurred. So, the people holding the stolen funds argued a very aggressive point. They claimed that when Mrs. Marsh agreed to take legal steps to recover the missing money, she essentially ratified or formally accepted the innocent law firm's actions. By their logic, her attempt to fix the problem legally validated the release of the money in the first place. Wild, right?
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive tension at the heart of the entire case. On one hand, we've got her overt physical actions. She's taking legal steps to recover the missing money. It looks, on paper, like she is engaging with the process. But internally, she has absolutely zero knowledge of the forged signatures. She was just trying to fix a massive, life-altering problem without actually knowing the full truth of how that problem was created.
Which brings us to the ultimate question that the court had to answer. Did Mrs. Marsh ratify the fraud? Put yourself in the judge's shoes for just a second here. Could her simple, panicked actions to recover her stolen life savings truly count as legally accepting the theft? Would the law effectively punish an innocent widow for trying to get her money back while she was still totally in the dark about her solicitor's betrayal?
Let's find out in Section 4, the final verdict.
All right, it's time to step into the courtroom to see how the law actually resolves this twisted scenario. The judge had to decide once and for all if a principal like Mrs. Marsh can be bound by the unauthorized actions of others when she knew absolutely nothing about the underlying fraud. So the crucial point is this. The court ultimately sided with Mrs. Marsh. The judge explained that ratification isn't just some technical trap you accidentally step into because you filed some paperwork. Ratification requires full knowledge. You literally cannot legally approve or accept an agent's prior actions unless you know all the material facts surrounding those actions. Because Mrs. Marsh had no earthly idea her signature had been forged by Hales, she couldn't possibly have ratified the transfer to clearing company.
And that gives us the definitive legal principle from Marsh for Joseph. No knowledge of fraud equals no valid ratification. The court held that there was absolutely no valid ratification in this case whatsoever. It's such an essential, foundational rule for law students, and really anyone working in business or with agents. Simply put, you cannot approve what you do not know. So the next time someone asks you to quickly sign off on something after the fact, remember Mrs. Marsh and ask yourself, do I truly have the full picture, or am I walking into a trap? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope it brought the mechanics of this classic case to life for you. See you next time.